In this presentation, we'll look at what happens when you sleep and what the research tells us about sleep's impact on health and performance. Sleep might seem like a static activity, but there is a lot going on in the physical body and mind while we catch our Z's. Sleep follows a repeating pattern of two states, rapid eye movement, or REM, and non-rapid eye movement, or non-REM sleep. These cycles repeat approximately every 90 minutes. Over the course of a normal night's sleep, we experience 4 to 6 cycles. The image displayed here represents the typical activity of a sleeping person's brain when measured by electrodes. Both sleep stages are important for experiencing quality sleep. As we begin to fall asleep, we enter non-rapid eye movement sleep. About 75% of our night is spent in NREM sleep. In this state, the body's tissues, muscles, and immune system restore, repair, and develop. Non-REM sleep also helps to restore energy. About 90 minutes after falling asleep, we enter our first rapid eye movement sleep. We spend about 25% of the night in this state. Intense dreaming occurs during REM. While dreaming, the brain is very active, but major muscles of the body are in a state of paralysis. This deeply restful state supports daytime performance. Non-rapid eye movement sleep moves through several stages. We can think of pre-stage 1 as a period of relaxed wakefulness. This stage lasts a few minutes. Stage 1 is a brief transition from being awake to being asleep. It's here that we enter a light sleep and are most easily awakened. In this stage, our cortisol, or the stress hormone, levels dip and then increase over the night to promote alertness in the morning. Stage 2, which lasts 30 to 40 minutes, is the onset of sleep. Here, our body temperature drops and heart rate becomes regular. Stages 3 and 4 are combined and last about 45 minutes. These stages are when the deepest and most restorative sleep occurs. The blood pressure drops, blood supply to muscles increase, tissue growth, repair, and relaxation occurs. Energy is restored and essential hormones are released, including ghrelin and leptin, which you'll later learn help to govern appetite. These stages also support the immune function. It is most disruptive to awaken here, and there is usually a brief drop back to stage 2 before entering the dream state, or REM sleep, until the end of the cycle. Revisiting the image of brain activity, we can now see that most deep sleep occurs in the first part of the night, when there is more stage 3 and 4, NREM sleep. Lighter and dream sleep, or REM, occur more in the second part of the night, or as we approach morning and the period of awakening. Now that you have an understanding of what happens during sleep, you might be wondering how much you need. The answer? Well, it depends. The amount of sleep an individual requires varies based on a number of factors. Age is one of those factors. For example, an infant requires far more sleep than a teenager. Most of the scientific knowledge regarding the amount of sleep we need is based on mortality studies, and these studies have provided us with normative ranges. Many guidelines recommend that adults get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. However, some recent research suggests that 6 to 8 hours may be a more appropriate range. Specific to college students, at least one study suggests that getting an average of 5.5 hours of sleep per night for 8 months did not result in significant consequences. Throughout this course, you will be encouraged to answer the question of how much sleep do I need for yourself. In doing so, you should think about the amount of sleep you need to get by. In other words, to operate in survival mode, versus the amount of sleep that will help you build health-enhancing habits for a lifetime. The research indicates that 5.5 hours per night is core sleep. This is considered the minimum necessary for routine function. Optional sleep might be considered any sleep we get in addition to the core. We could think of optimal sleep as the amount that allows us to feel and perform our best. This may be 6 hours of sleep per night, or 9, or something in between. How much sleep are you getting per night? Do you know how much you would like to get in order to feel and perform your best? Throughout the course, you'll have a chance to track your sleep patterns and possibly become more aware of how the amount of sleep you get impacts the rest of your day. Good sleep habits are associated with cognitive benefits. Those who consistently get more than 6 hours of sleep have faster reaction times and thinking speed than those who don't. One purpose of sleep is to store and organize information learned throughout the day so that it is available for recall later. As you may remember, we previously saw that memory consolidation occurs during dream or REM sleep. Studies have shown that the greater the amount of dream sleep, the better one performs on knowledge tests. Psychological health is also affected by sleep. In college students, quality sleep is related to less depression, fewer mood swings, less irritability, greater concentration, and greater life satisfaction. In addition, habitually tired students report more frequent episodes of negative mood and increased use of alcohol and marijuana. Do you wake up early during the week and then sleep late on the weekends? Does the time you go to bed and wake up each day vary by 2 hours or more? Consistency of sleep is just as important as the amount of sleep. Students who vary their schedule by just 2 hours per night report the same problems as students who sleep less than 6 hours. These problems include depressive symptoms, lower sociability, and more frequent difficulties with attention and concentration. Many students believe that they can adjust to a sleep schedule that varies greatly from one day to the next, but this is a common myth. Of course, there are individual exceptions, but most people who have chronically irregular sleep patterns do not adjust. Instead, they experience low energy, emotional distress, slower reaction times, and a decline in alertness that might have been prevented with a more regular sleep schedule. Inconsistency can be just as detrimental as insufficient sleep quantity or inefficient sleep. Consistent sleep establishes a sleep system of regular body temperature rhythm and adequate intervals of prior wakefulness. A regular rising time allows you to fall asleep more easily, sleep more deeply, and wake less often during the night. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter to cram for an exam? If so, you're not alone. Do you think that studying instead of sleeping right before the test improved your grade? Maybe this research study will influence your thoughts. Students were divided into 2 groups. On the eve of an exam that measured critical thinking ability and attention, the experimental group of students stayed up all night. The control group slept 8 hours. After taking the exam, students were asked to rate their performance. The group that stayed up rated their performance better than the group who slept, but the control group actually performed better on the test. This study is yet another reminder that perception can differ from reality. We might pull an all-nighter and think we did okay, but then be disappointed when the grades are reported. One study suggests that sleep has a greater impact on GPA than exercise, nutrition, mood state, perceived stress, time management, or any other single variable measured in the study. Realistically, sleep probably influences all of these variables. We think that success ultimately depends on maintaining balance in all of these areas. Nonetheless, it is clear that sleep has an impact on GPA. As mentioned earlier, memory consolidation occurs during sleep. If you get less sleep, you diminish that cognitive ability. This important point was highlighted in a study comparing students' sleep schedules and grades. Those with grades of C or lower reported 25 minutes less sleep per night and going to bed 40 minutes later than students with A's and B's. More and more studies are demonstrating a connection between poor and insufficient sleep and disease. Long-term sleep deprivation and poor sleep habits can contribute to the risk of serious health consequences. As you can see here, sleep has a role in most of the major health issues we face in our country today. The good news is, you can develop healthy habits now, and these habits can stay with you throughout your lifetime. Sleeping well is a great place to start. This concludes the Sleep 101 presentation of SleepWell.